Across the Normandy coastline this morning, the services began. Hundreds gathered in the town of Colville, Montgomery, a handful of veterans among them, including Henry Rice, 98, sent to war a week after D-Day. How do you find the reception that you get from the people of the towns and villages here?
Fantastic. I'm kissing my way across Europe.
In 1946, they renamed this town after Britain's Allied Commander-in-Chief. Today, they're giving his name to this square too.
The new name of the square is Montgomery. Square Montgomery. Voilà.
Gratitude to the liberators is still being written into the map here 80 years on.
Dear veterans, you are the last living witnesses of this war, and we are very proud of you all. The citizens of Colville, Montgomery are deeply grateful and thankful.
It's very emotional. My father was a prisoner in Germany during 5 years. So I like also to meet German people here, young German people, because this is Europe.
But it is a Europe once again witnessing an aggressor waging war.
Hooray!
To the horror of those who once fought one. How was that ceremony for you?
Yeah. Very, oh, I don't know. Why do people have to hurt each other? It's not necessary. I wish Mr. Putin could understand this, because I think this world is, at the moment, a rather dangerous place. And it shouldn't be. Not after what we've all experienced. I don't know. It's very emotional for me, I'm sorry. Forgive me.
As they march through this Normandy town, across the Channel, Portsmouth hosted the UK's big anniversary event. The King spoke of honouring the nearly 160,000 British, Commonwealth and Allied troops involved in D-Day.
The stories of courage, resilience and solidarity, which we have heard today and throughout our lives, cannot fail to move us, to inspire us, and to remind us of what we owe to that great wartime generation, now tragically dwindling to so few.
And when one of those few, Eric Bateman, walked onto the stage with his family, they stood to applaud him.
So many men and women, including my dear friend Fred, who joined up with me, but unfortunately never made it. I'm proud to be here today to honour them and to make sure they will always be remembered. Thank you.
They've looked after you all right today.
They've done beautiful.
So good.
Veterans spent time chatting with the King.
Yeah, I hope they give you a restorative drink.
As earlier they heard the Prime Minister read an address by General Montgomery relayed to them on this day 80 years ago.
On the eve of this great adventure, I send my best wishes to every soldier in the Allied team. To us, it's given the honour of striking a blow for freedom, which will live in history.
The last scene is the scene on a beach taken by Sergeant Grant of the Canadian Army Film Unit. Canadians
in Normandy, memory of that war against Hitler and the enormous sacrifice it entailed is etched into the landscape. Pristine memorials overlook beaches once the scene of breathtaking devastation. Allied and German casualties ran into thousands that day, tens of thousands more in the weeks that followed. So they come to Bayeux once more to remember.
an account from Naval Chaplain, the Reverend Walter Cripps, from the Sword Beach. I remember the beach so clearly.
This evening, D-Day's veterans sit amidst the more than 4,000 graves of this France's largest Commonwealth War cemetery. And again, however frail, they tell their stories.
My name is John Dennett, Royal Navy.
And surrounding them are the thousands of individual stories so many never got to tell, yet the sum of which helped define a century. Well, on French TV this morning, one woman who as a girl lived through the Nazi occupation of France reminisced and spoke of what she called the miracle of liberation when it came in June 1944. And that sense of enduring collective gratitude has really permeated the services here today. So too, the absolute determination of these remarkable veterans. They've come from the UK, the US and other countries to be here, and that's quite some feat given that many of them are now over 100 years old.
More commemorations where you are in Bayeux.
In the cathedral here, which survived the battles which raged across this region 80 years ago, there was a joint Anglo-French service of Thanksgiving. Princess Anne was there, and she's now walked back with bands and soldiers from the cathedral through the city to the cemetery here. And this cemetery has become something of a focal point for the commemorations in Normandy. And tonight there'll be a really striking image when all of the graves here, the thousands of graves here, are illuminated, after which there'll be a vigil when the names of the dead are read out. Tomorrow, attention turns to the anniversary of the landings themselves. President Biden will be here, along with more than 20 other heads of state. President Putin of Russia has not been invited, and arguably not for many decades have these commemorations been held in the shadow of such political instability in Europe. And that's a reality, as you heard in that piece, not lost on some of the veterans here.